Hoyle Dowie. I think I got that right. The fact is that we chose God. He didn't choose us. A lot of people would say, well, I decided to become a Christian and, it's God who decides that. Just like a baby doesn't decide to be born. A baby doesn't decide to be born. Baby doesn't decide to be conceived. It just is. If the situation is right, that's what happens, and that's how it is with God. A lot of people say, well, I said a prayer and decided to become a Christian. Something that Paul Washer does have right. And I decided to become a Christian, and then God made me a Christian. It's God that brings it to you. You say, well, I can decide it for myself. No, you can't. No, you can't. You don't even know what Christian means unless God brings it to you. And I don't even know how to say this. But, you can't become a Christian when you say or because you say. So, well, I decided to become a Christian today. Well, no, you can't become a Christian unless God calls you, Jesus says in his last great speech there before he went off to be in John, John 16 maybe, 17, something like that, before he went off to pray and before he was taken away. It's God that decides if you're going to become a Christian, plain and simple. And you got these people, well, I prayed a prayer, I decided I become a Christian. No, it's at the moment that God decides. You can't. It's not your choice. I think a lot of people think that I decided to become a Christian. You don't decide when you should become a Christian. With me, it was in my face, and there was nothing I could do about it, other than decide, okay, I'll accept it or not, and that's all it came down to. It's God's choice, chosen by God, not chosen by a man that says, come up here and believe what I say, When you hear something, somebody says, well, this is the case. You say, well, what am I going to do about it? I have a friend that says, well, something has to be done. Well, if it's in your hands, you do it. And so something has to be done. There has to be a response to the preaching of the gospel, and that must be made clear what that response is. The response is faith. But if you just sit there and go, if you do that kind of stuff, stare at your belly button isn't going to get you saved. But it's God's choice. I think most people on the internet don't understand that. And it's a shame. Chosen by God, born at, just like we're born and we can't decide the day of our birth and day of our death. That proverb says we can't decide, when we'll be born and become a new Christian. It's basically, we get the opportunity, and then we decide what we're going to do with that opportunity. It's God's will. God's the Father. It's like it says in 1 John 1, I believe. It's 1 John 1. Or maybe it's John. Not of human decision or a husband's will, but born of God. God is the Father. He's the one that makes us, that chooses us. We don't choose Him. We, submit to His choosing us as the authority. We decide whether we're going to follow God or not. And you can see on YouTube the behavior of those who have chosen not to follow God, yet proclaim that they are Christians. And if God gives them a chance, when God gives them a chance, it comes about when the timing is right. That God gives us the chance to be born again. It is up to us, but it's not up to us about God. We're chosen by God. All we do is accept. And some people have this. I mean, I don't even know how to. I don't even know how to explain it to people who've never experienced it, who claim to be Christians. But you know, they say, "Well, yeah, God chose me, and therefore I chose Him." No, God chose you. Jesus said, "You did not choose me. I chose you." He's the one that said. Jesus went around and said, "Would you follow me, Peter? Follow me, Andrew. Follow me, you know, John, James." Nathaniel. You know, people came and they brought the message to other people. They say, "Could this be the Christ?" The woman at the well said that. I forget whose brother Nathaniel was, but Nathaniel's brother came to him and said, "We have found the Christ." Then it was his choice then not to follow Jesus when he wasn't called. It's not his choice, and it's not even possible to follow Jesus without being called. So, well, I read the Bible and I felt called. No. Someone must actually call you. And you get in this woo, you know, this type of religion. It seems really, you know, ethereal, and people just say, well, it's just not, you know, it's just all comes down to what happens in the mind and all that stuff. It's what happens in the will. When your will meets a will that's stronger than yours, and you say, I will accept it or I won't accept it. And God puts you in a position where you can do the right thing or the wrong thing. If you keep on choosing to do the wrong thing, if you can't say, well, I'm going to try to do the right thing, then, you know, I don't think God's going to call you. So, but you are chosen by God. You did not choose me, Jesus said. I chose you to bear fruit, fruit that will last in John. Because we cannot bear fruit that will last. He chose us. If you know, and I don't think that most people that see this video have been chosen by God. They choose to follow God. Oh, I chose to become a Christian. I chose to follow God. But God did not choose them. Many are called, but few are chosen. Those who are willing are chosen. Those who are unwilling, they're not chosen. They're just called. And if they don't respond to the call, then they're not going to be chosen. It's because, you know, Jesus' disciples were following him before he were following, you know, a lot of them were going around walking around him, but wanted the Christ to come and wanted to be with the Christ, that he chose them. So I don't pray, oh God, you know, accept me. God comes to you and says, will you accept me? I don't read the Bible and God, you know, asks me through the Bible. God doesn't invite me through the Bible. You can be, you know, alone on a desert island and have the Bible, and you'll never be saved. You may not be saved, and actually you can't be saved, because a message must be preached, Paul said, for salvation to happen. God, you did not choose God. He chose you because you don't have the capability of choosing God. Period. You don't have a capability of choosing God. You have no capability, because it's God who is righteous who calls, not we that seek God. We don't seek God. The Bible makes that clear. He chooses us. God bless.